Hello, I'm Artisha Moore, President and CEO of Association Forum, and today I have Jorge Rivera with us to talk about Hispanic Heritage History. Jorge, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks for having me. My name is Jorge Rivera. I am the Director of Membership for the National Roofing Contractors Association. We're based in Rosemont and been in the association world for about just over 20 years now. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Before we get started with the questions, Jorge, I'm always interested to understand folks' journey. I stumbled into association management. So can you tell us a little bit about what you brought, what brought you to this industry?
Sure. I think I too stumbled into the association management. I started off as a customer service rep back in 2001 with a subsidiary of the National Association of Realtors in Chicago. And as I worked there, I worked my way through school, got my bachelor's degree, and I left for a short while, but came right back about a year later and in a higher position, and then just try to keep my professional development going. And about 7 years ago now, I came over here with an opportunity to grow with the National Roofing Contractor Association, and just worked my way up through director. I'm grateful for the opportunity that they've given me here.
Thank you for saying that, because I think that it's important for others, especially those watching the video, to understand there's so many different paths to get to the careers of their dreams. So let's talk a little bit now about what brought us here today. What does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you?
For me, I think it means just better representation. For those of us who might feel underrepresented, it's always great to see others in similar positions, or just as a matter of celebrating our collective culture in a unified voice. So I think it's a beautiful thing. There's so many in the Hispanic culture. There's so many different cultures within it. I always enjoy just learning, and I have now a chance to take part with Association Forum and these other avenues to celebrate this month. So yeah, it means a lot to me, especially now. You start networking a little bit more during your career, and start meeting a lot of interesting people, and you just love to learn about how they got there as well.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And I think more that I'm learning and supporting and being an ally to the community and the Latinx community, I think one of the things that I always love is this awareness and learning of how many diverse populations come together under this beautiful umbrella. So thank you for saying that, because I do think it's important for others to really understand how diverse this is and how many different nationalities and ethnicities you could learn about during the month and understand.
Yeah.
So as I think about our work, and you mentioned Association Forum, and we're leaning in a lot around advisory groups and supporting underrepresented environments. But I'd like to hear from you, how can the association industry become more inclusive to the Latinx community?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something I've thought about over the years in previous positions, especially when I first started getting into management positions. I started noticing that there weren't too many people that came down the same path that I did. And I think that opening up criteria for certain positions, if you have requirements that close the pool of candidates, then that pool of candidates may become less diverse because of it. Then, it may not be HR's fault that everybody they're receiving is not as diverse as maybe one would like. And if they're following certain criteria. So I think there's an opportunity to open up and find how contributions can be made without so many of what we may think of as traditional environments. One of the things I really like about My position here is I work with a lot of folks who came in. A lot of the VPs now work their way through. In fact, my VP now, he started in the mailroom 30 years ago. He's not much older than I am, and worked his way through. And I think that those opportunities don't present themselves as much anymore as there's so many boxes that need to get checked off before you even have an opportunity to speak to someone. At least that's my take. But that's how I feel.
Right. Thank you for saying that, because I think that particular point, I too worked my way up from clerk to CEO. And without the opportunity of folks who didn't look at just baseline criteria, things like degrees, things like masters or various certifications, because they don't understand what it takes for maybe some of the avenues in your working class or below the poverty line to even get to the starting point there without help. So thank you for saying that. I think for me, part of this also is being that I admire the people that are around me, as well as those that can support, right? That try to push it. For you, as you reflect, who do you admire more about you? Who are your heroes?
Well, my heroes, I'll go a little bit personal here. Like, my parents, I know a lot of people say that, but they came in, they're both from Puerto Rico, and they came in the 60s. And my father, he supported us. My mom took care of us, obviously also supported us. And they both came, as I said, from Puerto Rico. And then I also admire my father-in-law, who came from Mexico. So it's a different, unlike Puerto Ricans who have the opportunity to come and our citizens right away, my father-in-law had to go a different route. And he came in also in the 60s in worker programs, and really had to work in different struggles. But even through all those struggles, and this applies to both my parents and my father-in-law, they've always kept a positive outlook and was able to provide for their families, and they do it with open arms and open heart, to try and make sure that the next generation is better off than they were.
Thank you for sharing that. That touched my spirit, really. And just hearing about that. And I too have heroes, again, the big names out there that inspire you, Beyonce and all of those things, but then also my grandma, right? My mom and dad. And it is because of what they did in the day-to-day, similar to your family and your communities, that made it possible for us to show up fully today. So thank you for sharing.